In today's video, we're covering the top 10 defenses for week 5 of fantasy football. I'll tell you right now that 5 of these defenses are available in over 70% of leagues, giving you plenty of options if you do need a stream. Welcome into the No BS Fantasy Football YouTube show. If you do want this video for your league every single week, make sure you hit that subscribe. We crushed last week's rankings. We're going to do it again this week. And drop any start-sit questions, trade questions, waiver questions down in the comments. I'll be answering every single one. And let's get started with our number 10 defense of the week, the Los Angeles Rams. And they've got some great upside here, and they've been great so far this season. Week 1 and 2, they had easier matchups facing Houston and Tennessee, but they've also put up decent points against tough matchups like the Eagles and the Colts in weeks 3 and 4. What I love about this defense is the pressure they put on the quarterback. In every single game, they have multiple sacks. That's a great way to just start stacking up the points during the game. In every single game, they've got turnovers. In week 5, they play the San Francisco 49ers, who are extremely injured. Ricky Pearsall may miss this game. Brock Purdy's been questionable almost the entire season. George Kittle is out. Juwan Jennings was out some of last game as well. This team is extremely injured. Now, I expect Brock Purdy to play. They've still got Christian McCaffrey, so they're going to be getting yardage. This defense, with all the injuries on the 49ers team, is going to have a field day going after Brock Purdy and really just focusing in on Christian McCaffrey, making them a top 10 defense in week 5. Number 9, I've got the Philadelphia Eagles. And they don't have the easiest matchup against the Denver Broncos. They looked actually awesome against the Bengals, and I know that was against the Bengals, but they used pretty much every player on their team. They used Evan Ingram, they used RJ Harvey, they used Pat Bryant, they used Troy Franklin, of course they used Cortland Sutton and J.K. Dobbins as well. They really showcased the variability and the variety that they can have in their offense. But I love how the Eagles have been playing, especially special teams. They have a special teams touchdown the last 2 weeks. They've been blocking field goals, getting after the punters as well. They're not getting the most sacks, 1 or 2 sacks, but that can start to build up, especially against Bo Nix, who will try to step up in the pocket and try to make some of those plays. But look at those touchdowns. Having a special teams touchdown is no accident. They've been blocking kicks, like I said, getting after the punter. I do like the Eagles in not the easiest matchup, but with how their special teams is playing, that's a big advantage to have for fantasy football, and you can add them if they are available. Now, we still have plenty of teams, including my number 2 defense, that are on the waiver wire this week, but not the Seattle Seahawks in most leagues, because look at their defensive performance. And I know they play Tampa Bay week 5. It's another tough matchup. This week's kind of weird. The bye start. A lot of teams have even matchups, so not a lot of easy ones on this list. But Seattle has been dominant on defense. They did struggle week 1 against San Francisco, but that was also a healthy San Francisco team. They've been extremely injured since then. But Pittsburgh, New Orleans, Arizona, they've had some easier matchups, but they've dominated as well. They haven't given over 300 yards since week 1. They're getting multiple sacks every single week, including 6 against Kyler Murray last week. This team has been dominating on defense. Seattle's actually a defense I want to hold all season long with a pretty easy schedule. If they do become available in your league, I would definitely try to get them. But let's move on to some of the teams that are available on waivers. Number 7, I've got the Chiefs, who are available in 74% of leagues. We head over to their game log. They've been pretty good the last couple of games. They faced the Giants. They faced the Ravens and really shut them down. And that was Lamar Jackson for most of the game. Extremely impressive performance. And this week they're playing Jacksonville. So it may not be the easiest matchup, not the hardest matchup. Jacksonville has looked pretty good on defense themselves, but each week, multiple sacks. That's the way to build up those points every single week. They've had a couple interceptions. They got a fumble recovery last week against Baltimore as well. Facing Jacksonville, it's a decent matchup for a pretty decent defense. That's why they're number 7. Now the Browns at number 6 are available in 97% of leagues. That makes a lot of sense since they did just face Cincinnati with Joe Burrow, Baltimore, Green Bay, and Detroit. Extremely tough schedule so far, but week 5, they play the Vikings, who the Steelers just kind of destroyed in Dublin until the very end of the game. Then they play Pittsburgh, Miami, then they play New England, then the Jets. This is a defense you have to pick up because they have an amazing schedule coming up. We look at their game log here, and they've been doing a great job with the yardage. Most weeks, they've been putting up a good number of sacks. Against the Vikings this week, assuming it's Carson Wentz, that is an amazing matchup. They're going to shut down Jordan Mason. I still think Justin Jefferson, he's going to have a good game, but they're going to do a great job just like they have been all season long, and the Vikings look extremely susceptible, especially after the performance they had week 4 against the Steelers. Number 5, I've got the Bills, and they didn't take advantage of some of their great matchups so far this season against Miami or against New Orleans, but I still think they're a pretty safe defense with good upside. Now, the Patriots have been pretty good so far, but they haven't also been facing great teams like the Bills just yet. Points allowed has been solid the last few weeks. Yards have been solid. Sacks have been solid. They haven't had a lot of turnovers yet, but that's something they could potentially force against the Patriots, especially a team that's been fumbling a lot. They could force Drake May to pass a lot of this game, which could lead to more sacks and interceptions. The Bills are a good choice in the top 5. Now we're getting to some of the best waiver adds of the video, and the Colts are available in 82% of leagues. We do have one more defense that's available in even more leagues on this list, but I do like this Colts defense. So far, they faced Miami, great job. Tennessee, great job. They didn't do as good against Denver, which is a good team. They didn't do as well against the Rams, which is also a good team. But this week they faced Las Vegas. Las Vegas has been giving up so many interceptions. I'll go over to the matchup tab. You can see what the defenses have been doing to this team. 7 points week 1 against New England. 13 allowed, 11 allowed, 8 allowed to the Bears. The Colts are maybe the best defense or one of the best defenses the Raiders have faced all season long. And I'm not worried about Ashton Genty. He did have a great week against the Bears, an extremely injured and struggling defense. The Colts, I think, will be able to take care of business. They're also probably going to score points. This Colts offense has been good. Jonathan Taylor's been great. Michael Pittman Jr., Tyler Warren, Daniel Jones have been good as well, forcing the Raiders to pass. And when Geno Smith has to pass, he's been throwing so many interceptions. This is a great matchup for the Colts, available again in 82% of leagues. Make sure you add them this week. Number 3 is the Vikings. Now, they're not available in a lot of leagues, but they could get dropped based on some poor performances. They've only had one good week against the Bengals in week 3, but I love their matchup week 5. And, Quidshot Junkins still going to have a good game, but you look at the matchup against Detroit, they gave up interceptions. They gave up a punt return. This Browns team is struggling. They're struggling on offense just to move the ball to get the job done. The Vikings matchup this week, even though I like the Browns defense as well, this could be a lower scoring game. I would go with the Vikings if they do get dropped in your league. Just scoop them up and play them against the Browns. Now, we do have 2 more teams, but this one is the waiver out of the video. So make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. Again, that's a huge support, and make sure you get this video every single week. You have to add the Cardinals. This week, they're playing against the Tennessee Titans, who have been absolutely terrible on defense. We go over to the matchup tab. You see the Titans have allowed 14, 8, 13, 14 points. They've allowed in the teens 3 out of the 4 weeks. And this week, again, facing the Cardinals, a team that has been struggling a little bit, but the Titans have been struggling even more. If you watched that game, and I hope you didn't, because it was painful. As someone that lives in Nashville, I have to support the home team. Super excited about Cam Ward, who I think looks pretty good, but nearly every drive started with an offensive holding penalty. When you start every drive 1st and 20, you're just not going to do well. You put in Cam Ward in terrible situations. You're making it hard to move the ball. They're not getting that many yardage. Tony Pollard is playing fine. Alec Ayomanor is playing pretty decent as well, but they're just struggling to put the pieces together with their terrible offensive line. If the Cardinals are available in your league, which they probably are, they're available in over 80% of leagues. Make sure you add them from the waiver wire. Our number 1 defense, the Detroit Lions. Now, I would check if they're available in your league. They're still available in 13% of leagues, so not likely, but hey, 1 in 10 of you out there may be able to scoop them up for your squad this week, and they've got the best matchup, the best ranking against the Bengals. And so far, they've been excellent. Week 2 against Chicago, week 3 against Baltimore, week 4 against Cleveland. Great fantasy points. And we go to the matchup tab. This is going to be absolutely insane. We see week 2, the Jaguars scored 8 points. Week 3, the Vikings scored 30 fantasy points. And week 4, they gave up 10 points to the Broncos. So the Lions, they have the best matchup this week, and you got to lock them in your lineup. Make sure they're not on the waiver wire. Thanks so much for watching, and make sure you're subscribed to get this video for your league next week.